How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Chaf, Daf 20 of Masechta Sotah. Friends, we're just continuing on with the interesting, situation of the Sotah. With that introduction, we will begin today's Daf on Daf Chaf of Masechta Sotah, Daf Chaf Amud Aleph, about 8-10 lines into the page at the Mishnah. Ad shaloi nimcha kol Megillah, as we've seen before, that if before the scroll with the text of the Sotah stuff, we saw three machlokas about what exactly you write. The scroll, we'll call it the scroll. So prior to the scroll, if the scroll has not yet been erased in the water, Sotah, she says, look, I ain't doing this. Megillah and Nignezes. Okay, so we put the Megillah in, right, it hasn't been erased yet, so we put the Megillah in Gniza, we bury it. Minchasim is Pazeres al Adeshen, and the Korban Mincha that, Babylon, the Korban Mincha that we prepared, you basically just burn at the Beis Hadeshen. You burn it next to the Mizbech. And you cannot recycle the Megillah, right? If you write it for Sarah, and then she says, I'm not drinking, so you bury it, you can't use it for Rivka. Okay. Nimcha kol Megillah ve'amra tmeya ani. But, did I skip? No, I don't think I skipped. So again, Nimcha kol Megillah, if they did erase the scroll already in the water, ve'amra tmeya ani, and she says, Tmeya ani, she says, look, I admit it, I had an affair. Okay, so at that point, there's no point of forcing her to drink the Sotah water. It's just, the whole point is to figure out if she did or didn't have an affair. She said that she did. Well, okay, we don't need the Sotah water anymore. So, right, so where am I? So, Nimcha kol Megillah v'amar Tmeya ani, hamayim nishbachin. So you spill out the water. Chaval, you erased God's name in the water. But okay, she admitted she had an affair. She doesn't need to drink it. You spill it out. And you burn, right, the mincha. You don't burn the mincha on the mizbech. You burn it at the Beis Hadeshen next to the mizbech. Nimcha kol Megillah v'amra eini shosa. If they've erased the scroll in the water, and then at that point she says, look, I don't want to drink. I'm not admitting that I had an affair, but I don't want to drink. Well, at that point, we already erased the Megillah. So we forced her to drink the water at that point. Again, if she says that she had an affair, so that's a different story. So there's no point of her drinking the water. But she just says, I'm not drinking, and we already erased the Megillah, so at that point she can't turn back. Eina misapekes lishtos ad sheponea morikos. Now, if she starts, Babylon, how could I be yawning through such a high stakes Mishnah? Granted, I didn't sleep much last night, but so if she did have an affair and she goes ahead nonetheless with drinking the Sotah potion, and she starts drinking, before she even finishes the potion, her face goes pale. Ve'nea boltos, her eyes bulge. Ve'mismalis gidin, she gets all sinewy. Ve'morim, they say, Otziua, get her out of here. Hey, she's gonna blow. Get her out. Shelo titma azara, so that she doesn't make the azara all tameh. Im yesh la zchus. So now the Mishnah continues and says, look, if she had zchusim, if she had merits, so then tola la. So if she had merits, well, then that can kind of prevent her immediate explosion. Yesh zchus tola shana achas. Now certain zchusis can last a year. Yesh zchus tola beishanim. Certain zchusim can push off the inevitable by 2 years. Yesh zchus tola gimel shon. Some zchusim can push things off for 3 years. Mikano ben Azai. From here, Ben Azai says, Chayiv odum lelamed es bitei Torah. A fellow is obligated to teach his daughter Torah. Shem Tishte teda shazchus Torah. Because if she learns Torah and she learns this Mishnah that we're learning, so then if, in this case, if she, for whatever reason, has to drink the Sotah water, finds herself in a position where she has to drink the Sotah waters, she'll know about this halacha, about Zchus Torah, right? So it says, Ben Azai, it's important that a fellow should teach his daughter Torah so that she knows what's up. And if, for whatever reason, she's ever finds herself to be a Sotah, so she'll know the halachas and she'll know, why she may or may not be affected by the Sotah waters. Whereas Rabbi Eliezer disagrees. Rabbi Eliezer Omer, Kol hamalamid bitei teire lomda tiflus, that a fellow teaches his daughter Torah, he's teaching her narishkeit, he's teaching her nonsense. Okay? Rabbi Yeshua Omer says, Rabbi Yeshua wrote, Isha bekav v'tiflus mites kaven ufrishus. So Rabbi Yeshua says, look, a woman would prefer less, but be able to do what she wants, mites kaven, than more, ufrishus, but not be able to do whatever she wants. I think on the simple level, what that means is she would prefer that maybe she has less materially, but she has she'll be married and she'll have a husband that she can be with, rather than if she has more materially, but she she doesn't have an intimate relationship with her husband. So in this case, basically the point is that she'd rather have less and be able to kind of do what she wants, i.e., learn less Torah. Ignorance is bliss. Huaya Omer, Rabbi Yeshua would say, Chosid Sotah. If you have, the Gemara is going to explain what this means, but if you have a chosid who's an idiot, Rasha Arum, or a tricky nudnik, Ve'isha Prusha, and a woman who is Prusha, staying away, I guess. Umakis Prushin, or if you what's that called when people beat themselves up for religious reasons? I don't know, they get all hitty themselves-y-ish. So, Mivali Olam, I don't know, the Mivali Olam, I don't know, the what, kind of silly? Uh-oh. Are there people outside making noise? Don't they know? Alright. So, okay, so let's get to the Gemara. Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Shmuel. Para. Says Rav Yehuda in the name of Shmuel, Mishum Reb Meir, quoting Reb Meir. Kshaisi Lamed Tere Eitzel Reb Akiva. So it says Reb Meir that this is gewaldig. Says Reb Meir that when he would study Torah by Reb Akiva, his teacher, Hoysamatil kan kantom nesochadio v'lo amarli dover. Says Reb Meir that when he would study by Reb Akiva, Reb Meir, as we're going to see in a second, Reb Meir was a scribe, and Reb Meir would put kankantom in the dio. Dio, of course, is the ink that we use to write Sifrei Torah, and he would put kankantom into the dio to make it stick better. Uchshebasi eitzel Rabbi Yishmael, and says Reb Meir, when I went to Rabbi Yishmael to study, so Rabbi Yishmael says to Reb Meir, he says, what is, right, so Reb Meir goes now to Rabbi Yishmael to study. Rabbi Yishmael says to Reb Meir, what's your, what do you do for a living? And Reb Meir says, I'm a scribe. So, Amalei Lavleroni, Omar Li, so says Reb Meir that Rabbi Yishmael says to him, Bini, my son, have a zoyer, be careful, Shemalachtu Melecha Shamayim, because your work is the work of the heavens. Shematachzir os achas, otater os achas, lest you, skip a letter or add a letter. Nimse satamachav es kol olam kulo, and it's kilu, you're destroying the entire world, right? If you leave out a letter in the right, in a certain place, or add a letter in a certain place, you can have a completely different meaning, which could be very, right, terrible. Right? Imagine how you have Hashem Elokeichem emes, and you leave out the aleph in the word emes. That could be quite dire. So Amartilo, so says Reb Meir that I said to Rabbi Yishmael, Dover echod yeshli, look, I got a shtickle trick. Shani mati l'soch hadio, v'kan kantom shmo, I add a shtickle kan kantom into the ink, into the dioi, And so Omar li v'chimatilin kan kantom l'soichad yoy, to which Rabbi Shmuel says to Reb Meir, but can you actually do that? Is that allowed? Can you put kan kantom into the dio? HaTorah Omar, because after all, says Rabbi Shmuel, the Torah says umacha ksav sheyuchal limchos, that when it comes to the Sotah, so you have to be able to erase the parsha, and if you put kan kantom into the dio, it's not going to be able to be erased. And this assumes, as we're going to see soon, that there's a machlokas, that this assumes that you actually erase from the Torah itself. It's not a separate scroll. Okay, fine. So we see that when Reb Meir was by Reb Akiva, he would put kan kantom into the dio, and Reb Akiva was cool with that. And then when Reb Meir went to Rabbi Yishmael, he's like, I don't know about putting the kan kantom into the dio, because what do you do about Sotah? If you have to erase the parsha Sotah, if you have kan kantom into the dio, it won't be erasable. So Maika Omerle u'Maika Mahaderle, what exactly did Rabbi Yishmael say to Reb Meir that prompted Reb Meir to respond with the fact that he puts kan kantom in the dio? Hachi Kamerle, this is what Reb Meir responds to Rabbi Shmuel. Lo mibaya b'achseres v'yiseres debaki ono. That remember, Rabbi Shmuel had asked Reb Meir, make sure you don't miss a letter or add a letter. To which Reb Meir says, look, I'm not concerned that I'm going to miss a letter or add a letter because I'm an expert. But maybe you'll be concerned that maybe I won't make a mistake, but maybe a fly will land on a letter. Maybe you'll be concerned that even if I'm not making a mistake, that what if a fly lands on a dalid and gets rid of the shtickle chupchik over there in the top right corner of the dalid, and now it becomes a reish? Don't worry about that either. I got a trick up my sleeve. Dover echad yeshli, I have epis sha'animati l'sochad dio v'kan kantom shmo. I put the kan kantom into the dio, and that takes care of that. So we saw two things. That Reb Meir first studied with Rabbi Akiva, and then he went to study with Rabbi Yishmael. And the second thing that we saw was that Rabbi Akiva was cool with Reb Meir putting kan kantom into the dio, and Rabbi Yishmael said, I don't know about that, because what about Sotah? Ini, but is this true? V'atanya, but we learn fakert. Reb Meir kishaisi la mitorah eitzel Rabbi Yishmael. That Reb Meir says that when he studied Torah by Rabbi Yishmael, I would put kan kantom into the dio, and Rabbi Yishmael was chill. He was cool with it. And when I went to Rabbi Akiva, he's like, yo, you can't do that, bro. So we have two questions. Question number one is that in the first brisa, Reb Meir first learned by Rabbi Akiva and then afterwards by Rabbi Yishmael. Yet in the second brisa, he first learns by Rabbi Yishmael and then Rabbi Akiva. And oichet, in the first brisa, it's Rabbi Yishmael who's saying, yo, dude, you can't do that. And in the second brisa, it's Rabbi Akiva who's saying, yo, bro, chill out with the dio. Yo, bro, chill out with the kan kantom in the dio. So in the second brisa, it's Rabbi Akiva saying, yo, bro, chill out with the kan kantom in the dio. Friends, again, if anybody wants to use that rhyme, it's yours. It's yours. Just again, if that line gets you a yacht, one day I'll go on a vacation, and I wouldn't mind if maybe we could talk. Okay, if you need another rhyme, keep on listening to Babylon Talmud, and maybe in another few years I'll come up with another good line. Okay, fine. Where am I? So we say, okay, fine. So don't worry about the, who did he go to first? Meikara also the Kamid Rabbi Akiva, because the way that it worked is that initially Reb Meir went to Rabbi Akiva. However, came into Lomotzi Kam Alibe, but Rabbi Akiva was pretty high level. So Rabbi Meir went to Rabbi Akiva initially, but he didn't quite understand. Rabbi Akiva was talking about svaras and all sorts of deep stuff. Reb Meir wasn't ready for that yet. So Rabbi Yishmael. So he went and spent time with learning by Rabbi Yishmael. V'gomer Gemara, and he learned the Mishnayos. First learned the basics, the foundations with Rabbi Yishmael. Learned all the Mishnayos and the Brises and all that stuff. And then after he had that foundation, he went back to Rabbi Akiva, Savar Svare, and got into sort of the pilpul. So Beseder. So the first Brisa was talking about when he was initially by Rabbi Akiva, and then he went to Rabbi Yishmael. And the second Brisa is talking about when he then went from Rabbi Yishmael back to Rabbi Akiva. Also kasha. But what do we do with the fact that in the first Brisa, it's Rabbi Yishmael who says, "Yo, bro, chill out with the kankan tom and the dio." And in the second Brisa, it's Rabbi Akiva who says, "Yo, bro, chill out with that kankan tom and the dio." It's so funny. All right, fine. So we say kasha. There's not much we can do. Yo, bro, chill out with that kankan tom. Yo, bro, chill out with that kankan tom and the dio. Weiter. Tani Rabbi Yehuda Omer, says Rabbi Yehuda. Omer Hay Reb Meir, that Reb Meir would say, La kol matilin kankan tom l'socha dio, that you can put kankan tom into the dio, chutz mi parsha sota bavad, but not for the parsha sota, right? If you're writing a Sefer Torah, and so you can use kankan tom in the dio for the Sefer Torah. Whoa. Is somebody coming to disturb me? Hopefully not. So you could, I'm telling you, it's like, I think the whole world is out to get me when I record Babylon Talmud. It's like the whole world is waiting for me to start recording so that they can come and pounce on my fragile, distracted brain. Akoponim. So you could write the whole Sefer Torah with kankan tom and the dio, but not the parsha of Sotah. Rabbi Yaakov Omer says, Rabbi Yaakov Mishmo, in the name of Rabbi Meir, chutz mi parshas Sotah shal mikdash, just not the parsha Sotah in the mikdash. Let's go weiter. My benar, what's an afkamina? Omer Yirmiyah limchok lo menatera ike benar. The afkamina is, do you actually erase it from a Torah scroll itself? So Rabbi Yehuda had quoted Rabbi Meir as saying that the entire Sefer Torah you could write with the kankan tom in the dio. Just when you get up to the parsha of Sotah, don't put kankan tom in the dio, because they're going to, if there's a Sotah, we actually erase it from an actual Sefer Torah, and it has to be erasable. If there's kankan tom in the dio, it won't be erasable. And Rabbi Yaakov quotes Rabbi Meir as saying that no, you can write the entire Sefer Torah with kankan tom the dio. That's fine, because we write separate scrolls, separate bespoke scrolls for the Sotah, and those scrolls, of course, would be unable to be written with kankan tom the dio, because those have to be erased. Yo, bro, chill out with that kankan tom the dio. Wow, that's stark. Okay. Yo, bro, chill out. Okay, fine. Vani tanoi. Tanoi. So, So the Gemara wants to suggest that maybe this machlokas tanoim about do you use the Sefer Torah or do you use separate scrolls is like the following machlokas tanoim. Tetanis, we learn in the Brisa in Megillah Ksheira Lashkos Basota Acheres, that that if you write a Megillah for a Sotah, you can't use it for another Sotah. If you write it for a Sarah, you can't use it for Rivka. Reb Achi bar Yoshia Omer Megillah Ksheira Lashkos Ba Sotah Acheres. Whereas Reb Yoshia says that you can use a Sotah scroll written for Sarah. You can use it for Rivka. Omer Reb Papa says Reb Papa Dumaloi, right? So we want to say that the one who's the Tanakam who says you cannot reuse it, it's like it's because you're writing bespoke scrolls, and therefore you can't. If you're writing it for this Sotah, you can't use it for another one. Whereas Reb Achi Bar Yosha, who says that you can use a scroll written for Sarah for Rivka, he would hold he would agree with the opinion that says that you can erase it from the Sefer Torah itself, because Sefer Torah, after all, wasn't necessarily written for any specific person, and if If you don't erase it for Sarah, you can erase it for Rivka. Fine. Amr Papa Dilmaloi, maybe it's not the case. Adkan lo ka'amr Tanakama Hosen. Maybe in the second brisa, the Tanakama says that you cannot reuse a scroll written, for Sarah, you cannot reuse it for Rivka. So because since it's written for Sarah, you can't then use it for Rachel. You then can't use it for Leah. Fine, they use Rachel and Leah, not Sarah and Rivka. However, you could say that he would also agree with the Tanakama of with Rabbi Yehuda, who says that a Sefer Torah, that you can use a Sefer Torah for the Sotah, since it isn't written for any individual person, right? If you have a separate Megillah that's written specifically for a Sotah, okay, so you can't if it's written for Rachel, you can't use it for Leah. But a Sefer Torah, which isn't written for anybody, it's written as a Sefer Torah, you would be able to, if you were going to use it for Sarah, but you didn't end up using it for Sarah, you can use it for Rivka, so, or Rachel, Leah, whatever. So therefore, the Tanakama of the Brisa could agree with that as well. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, and says Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak Dilmalohi, and says Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak that Ad Kan Lo Ka'amar Reb Achi bar Yoshia Hasam Ele B'Megillah D'ichtuv L'Shum Olus Ba'olam. Maybe the reason why Reb Achi bar Yoshia says that when you have separate scrolls, if you write it for Sarah, you could still use it for Rivka or whatever. If you write it for Rachel, you could still use it for Leah, because it's just general, because it's just written about like curses. Aval Torah the Islamic ksiva, hachinami de lo machakinon. But a Sefer Torah which is written to learn from, maybe Rav Achi bar Yoshia would say that you would not be able to use a Sefer Torah for Sotah and erase it. So maybe he would not agree with that Tanakam who says that you can erase the Torah. So, alright, so initially we wanted to say Rav Achi bar Yoshia was in line with the Tanakama who says that you erase from the Torah, but maybe not. And we wanted to say also that maybe the Tanakama was like Rabbi Yaakov, who says that you write separate scrolls, but maybe not. Okay, fine. Said him. Now, Frekti Gemara, Rav Achi bar Yoshia leislei. But does Rav Achi bar Yoshia, who says that if you write the scroll for Rachel, you could then use it for Leah, does he not hold of of that which we say by Gittin, because of the Garish is Ishto, that if somebody writes a get to divorce his wife, V'nimlach, and he changed his mind, he says, you know what, we're not going to get divorced, we're going to remain married. Mitzo ben Iro, and then somebody else in his town who's getting divorced finds him and he says, oh, you already wrote a get? That works out perfectly. He says, look, I have the same name as you, my wife's name is the same name as your wife. Basically, our gets are going to be identical. You already wrote the get for your wife. You're not getting divorced in the end. Can I just use your get? Pasul l'garish, but you can't reuse it. So how come by a get, if it's written for one woman, you can't use it for a different woman? How come Reb Achi bar Yoshia says that a Sotah scroll that's written for one woman can be used for another woman? Well, because by get, it says v'chasav lo. You have to write it specifically for her. You can't just write it for one woman and then end up using it for another woman. But achanami v'asa lo. But over here by Sotah, it also says lo. So wouldn't that also mean that it would have to be bespoke? So my asiya mechika. No, when it says v'asa lo, it means it's referring to erasing. That it has to be erased specifically for a person. But Rav Achi bar Yoshi would say that if it's written for one woman, it can be used for another woman. It's just when you erase it, it has to be erased with a particular Sotah in mind. Now the Mishnah had continued, Eina misapeges lishtos achapanea v'chulei, that she doesn't even finish the potion before she basically starts exploding. Mani Rib Shimon he. So this must be Rib Shimon, the Amr Makavis Minchasav Achakach Mashka, who says that she first offers the Korban Mincha, and then after the Korban Mincha, she then drinks the Sotah waters. The Chamad Lo Kerva Minchasa Lo Bad Ki Lo Maya, because as long as she hasn't offered the Mincha, then the Mesotah doesn't actually check her yet. The pasuk says minchas zikaron mazkeves avon. That the mincha is used as to invoke the sin. So in order for it to react immediately, or to act immediately, so then it must mean that the mincha was already offered. So that means that this Mishnah must be like Reb Shimon. But Ema Seifa. But one second, if we continue, the Mishnah says Yesh la zchus ha'isa tolala, that if she had a zchus, then it would push off the punishment. Asan l'Rabbanan, that is like the rabbis, as we've seen before, the Reb Shimon, because if it's Reb Shimon Omar, ein zchus tola b'mayim Omar. We've seen before that Reb Shimon's opinion is that there's no such thing as the zchus being tola, because then a woman drinks the Sotah water and she walks out alive, and people are going to be like, oh yeah, but it doesn't actually mean that you're innocent. Maybe you're guilty, but zchus tola. Right, so Reb Shimon doesn't hold of zchus tola. So on the one hand, we're saying that even while she's drinking, she can already be feeling the effects of it. Yet, we're saying that that's like Reb Shimon. But on the other hand, we're saying that zchus tola, which is not like Reb Shimon. So Omar Rav Chizda says of Chizda Amani Rab Akiva. So actually, the author of our Mishnah is Rab Akiva, who says just like Reb Shimon that first you offer the mincha and then afterwards she drinks, which is why it could already start kicking in while she's drinking it. But in terms of zchus being tola, Rabbi Akiva agrees with the rabbis that zchus is tola. So therefore, the Mishnah is Rab Akiva. Vehem omrim hotzi'ua v'chulei, and then they say when she starts showing signs of explosion, explosive tendencies. So then they say, quick, get her out. She's going to blow. So my timer, how come we got to get her out? The Dilma Mesa? What, that we're concerned that, if she dies in the Azara, that would be, not in the Azara. She doesn't go into the Azara. If she dies in the Hanhara Bayis, then that would be a problem. But Lememra de Mace, also b'machne Levia, does that imply that a corpse is not allowed to be in the machne Levia, is not allowed to be on Har Bayis, which is machne Levia? Right? Of course, there were three camps. The outer camp is machne Yisrael, which in Jerusalem is basically outside of the Beis Hamikdash, and then there's machne Levia, which is Har Bayis, and then machne Shechina, which is the Azara and inner. So, V'atani, we learn in a brayso, that somebody who is impure with corpse impurity is allowed in machne levia. But even a corpse itself can be on Har Bayis. Shinemar, the Apostle says, "Vayikach Moshe esatzmus Yosef imo," that Moses took the bones of Joseph with him, imo b'mchitzaso, with him, mamish in the machne levia. Abaye says Abaye Shemetifros Nida, that Abaye says no, we have to get her out of Har Bayis because maybe she'll become a Nida, and a Nida cannot be on Har Bayis. The Meima to be a Susa Merapia, does that imply that if she gets scared, then that will lead her to having a spontaneous become a Nida, to her becoming a Nida spontaneously? Yes, the Chsiv, as the pasuk says, Vatischal Chalamal Kamod, that it says in the Megillah Esther, that she got very, very nervous. V'omer Rav sheperes a nida, and Rav says that she became a nida. V'onon tanan charod misalekes domim. But don't we have a Mishnah that says that if a woman gets scared, then it would actually prevent her from becoming a nida? So pachda somis biasusam rapi. So it depends. If she's just generally under stress and scared, well then yes, it could prevent her from becoming a nida. But if she suddenly gets frightened, such as if she all of a sudden needs to drink this Sotah water, so then she could become a nida, and therefore we say, hey, get her out of Har Bayis. So the Mishnah had said that if she had merits, if she had zchusim, so the Mishnah said that it could push off the effects of the Sotah water, delay the effects of the Sotah water for up to 3 years. So Mani Masnisin, who is the author of our Mishnah? Lo Abba Yossi ben Chonon. It's not Abba Yossi ben Chonon. V'lo Rabbi Eliezer ben Yitzchak. Nor is it Rabbi Eliezer ben Yitzchak. Ish Kfar Darim. V'lo Rabbi Yishma. Nor is it Rabbi Yishma. The Tanya is willing to buy Im Yesh la zchus tola la shlosh chodashim K'dei akarsa uber divrei Abi Yossi ben Chanan. So it says Abi Yossi ben Chanan that if she has zchus, so then it could delay the effects of the water by 3 months, k'dei akarsa uber, which is the amount of time that it takes to to recognize if a woman is pregnant. Abi Yossi ben fun. Reb Eliezer ben Yitzchak ish kvar darim omer tes chodashim 9 months. Shnemar, as the pasuk says, v'niksa v'nizra azara, that if she did not have an affair, so then she will have a child. Ulhalanu omer zer yavdenu yisupar, that it will be told about this offspring, zera roi l'saper, offspring that will be able to talk, i.e. an offspring that will be able to be born, which is 9 months later. Rabbi Shmuel says, Rabbi Shmuel, shneim aser chodesh, 12 months. Even though I can't prove it to you, I can bring you a pasuk that seems to allude to it. It's a very complicated pasuk. Tichsiv, loin malka milki yishbar. My good kid, right? Daniel says to Nebuchadnezzar that he can, delay his punishments. V'chatoch b'tzidka fruk, and your sin by doing good deeds, it can be, I guess, you can be relieved from your sins. V'avayosoch b'michan anoyin hen teheve orcha l'shleivsach. That if you help out the Jews and help them out, these poor people, so then it could help you out and you won't be afflicted. Uchsiv, the puzzle says kol lemata al Nebuchadnezzar malka uchsiv liktas yarchin trei aser, and it says that 12 months later, all these things happened to him. So we see that these good deeds that he did was able to delay it by 12 months. No, so we saw 3 opinions here: 3 months, 9 months, 12 months. But our Mishnah says it could be up to 3 years. So the Olam Rabbi Yishmael, it's really our Mishnah that says up to 3 years is like Rabbi Yishmael. Ve'ashkach kra de Omar vitani, that there's a pasuk that describes that it could be multiplied, right? That the 12 months could be multiplied to 3 years. Tichsiv koyim Hashem al shlosha pishe Edom, for the 3 sins of Edom. So therefore the 12 month, according to Bishmael, it could be pushed off by 12 months, and then that could also be multiplied by 3. How come we're saying that this isn't actually a proof, but just like a hint? So Dilma Shani of the Kochavim to Lamafkedin Alai, because maybe that's only by Ovdei Kochavim that they don't that their punishment can be pushed off, but maybe by the Yidden, if they do something wrong, they'll be punished sooner. And held up to a higher standard and punished sooner. So therefore it's not necessarily a proof, but it's an illusion that what we saw by Nebuchadnezzar, that it could be pushed off. So maybe here also it could be pushed off. Friends, that was Daf Chaf of Masechta Sotah. We saw some interesting things on Daf Chaf. We went weiter in terms of drinking the Sotah waters. We had talked about, if she says she's not going to drink before the Megillah is erased, after the Megillah is erased. We said that if she, even after the Megillah is erased, if she says, look, I had an affair, so there's no point in drinking the waters. We saw that the sugya of zchus being tola, which we have seen in the past. And we saw interesting discussion that we're going to continue on tomorrow about women studying Torah, which Ben Azai says that Dafka women should learn Torah. Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yeshua seem to say not. We learned about do you erase a separate scroll for the Sotah or Dafka from the Sefer Torah. We learned about that Tumas HaMeis is allowed on Har Abayis, which we've seen before. Still an interesting sugya, and we came up with an interesting rhyme. Yo, bro, chill with that con tome in the dio. Friends, have a good one. Peace out.